For me, I like branding. I love selling things. I love figuring out why you would want to buy our products. I mean, I think our products speak for themselves. I think they're fantastic as far as quality, but just understanding the consumer and bringing products to market, that's just my passion. I really, really love that. That's kind of another thing that wasn't really in the plans. We didn't really know much about distributing beer or selling beer outside of our local market. The first 6 years or so of the brewery's history, draft only, just on-premise accounts like Top Shots and Phasies and Yesterdays and Buzzard Billy's, the Helm John's, Dell's Bar. A lot of those just really staple bars and restaurants in town. They were so wonderful about embracing Joe's crazy idea of creating a brewery, and when he had product, people were really pumped, like, oh my God, you actually did this. And so they were really proud to be able to put it on tap. But during that time, craft beer, wasn't what it was today. It was a hard sell to say, hey, put this beer. I mean, they would call it that dark beer. Some people called it the hippie beer. And it was higher in alcohol content. They didn't know what all those flavors were. They just wanted their staple. And for being a beer town and having Heilemann and Old Style and Special Export, just very, light American lagers. That's what everybody was really used to. So it took a long time to really develop that craft culture in this community, and I feel like Pearl Street's had a big part in that. As far as like trying to figure out distribution, we had a really wonderful friend of ours, Jeff Noel. He was just really proud of the work we were doing, and he said, hey, I want to help any which way, and he actually gave us our first loan, and we went and bought the bottling line that we still use today.
Right around the same time that we were building a tap room, we decided that we should probably also put beer in bottles so we could sell it at People's Food Co-op. And so I started looking around for a used bottling line, and we found one out in Bend, Oregon, and we bought it and moved it in, and word's getting out that we're gonna finally have beer in bottles. Mark Madsen from Festival Foods came down and said, hey, I hear you're putting beer in bottles. I want to put it in Festival Foods. The Food Co-op and Festival Foods were the first places to carry Pearl Street Brewery beer.
And we started packing, so we had to create labels, we had to start creating 6-packs, all of that kind of stuff, create UPC codes. We didn't really know a whole lot about that, so we just kind of winged it, to be quite honest. And Mark Madsen from Festival Foods, he got really pumped about it, and he came and he's like, hey, I hear you guys are going to put your beer in packaging and we want to sell it. And we just thought that was like the coolest thing. We're like, we're not even in bottles and people want it, and so that was really fun.
And then we're up in, so Tammy and I are up in the Northwoods where her family's from, like Grand Marais, right south of Canada, way up in northern Minnesota. And Tammy gets a call from Tom, the manager at Woodman's, and Tom's pissed because Festival Foods has Pearl Street beer, and Woodman's has never been offered the opportunity to have Pearl Street beer. So he's mad. Why did you do that? And Tammy's like, what? And she's breaking up. She had to walk to the end of the driveway with her phone just to get reception. And Tom's wants the Pearl Street beer, but he can't have it because Festival Foods has it. And there was this big issue. And after the weekend on Monday morning, there was beer at Woodman's.
I learned some great lessons about the value of partners and who the players are in town. We have really great relationships with Woodman's, Festival Foods, Quick Trip, People's Food Co-op. We're in Target, we're in Walgreens, Walmarts, and just doing all that growing and adding all those different buyers. It's interesting. Today we work with 10 plus distributors around Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and it's still not easy, but it's a really valuable partnership, and we're so happy to be able to work with really great. A lot of them are family-run businesses as well, a really long time history, and so without them it would be very hard to get our beer to market in all of the territories that we do.
our first fundraiser or anything like that we ever did was in the first year of Pearl Street Brewery opening. And this local couple, they had a baby that was born with this heart defect. And we ended up having a fundraiser at Big Al's Pizza, and what it was a white elephant auction. And what we had done is go around to all these local businesses, some of which were Pearl Street, customers, and others not. But we went around and said, hey, explained what we were doing. We just want something from your business that we can auction off at this fundraiser. And we just solicited all the businesses in downtown La Crosse, and they were completely supportive. It was the first time that we had really done a community event, and we barely even knew these people, but they were kind of like friends of friends, and they had a terrible situation with this little baby with a heart defect, and we were able to have the white elephant auction for them, and it felt good, and it felt good to be part of the giving back sort of thing. With the community, and that kind of set things in motion for Pearl Street Brewery becoming a business that really has a core value of returning what we get from the community back to the community.
Our Sprout for Kid Foundation, we have, I think since the beginning, Joe has had the same mission, really give back and be a part of the community that supports us. I think that's been there since the get-go.
Community involvement is a no-brainer for Pearl Street because we are part of the community. We all live here, we all work here, our kids go to school here. So for us to do what we can as a small company for the community is just, it's kind of a natural fit. Once we established the Sprout for Kids Foundation, we were able to sort of make it official and really organize our fundraising and our community involvement efforts. And ever since then, we've donated a ton of money to the community. Everything from the band shell that someday will be built in Riverside Park, all the way down to local community events. People that need help in our community, and once we opened the door for that and we kind of made it official, all of a sudden we have a ton of other companies and other community members that are interested in being part of it.
So in 2009, I think we informally started the Sprout for Kid Foundation. I think we incorporated as a 501c3 maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And it's just a way to actually give dollars directly to the organizations that need them. And so it's really cool to be able to use our products and our manpower and our workforce and our promotional engine for the benefit of really deserving families that need this money. And we're really proud to be able to do that. So our own personal mission is that we don't want to support CEOs, we don't want to support national organizations. They need support, they're great, they have their own engine. Our whole model is that we really want to just funnel money directly to the recipients so that they can get 100% of those proceeds. So that's really close to my heart. And we don't know if our daughter is going to be into beer, but we really hope that this is the legacy that she will want to continue and our family will be able to be involved in through the course of our future. I think, working day to day, our story is very unique, I think, because we've self-funded everything that we've done. So we're turning 20, and that's a really big, fantastic thing. I think in the course of looking at breweries in Wisconsin, we're not the biggest brewery, and younger breweries are quite bigger than us. I think we've always grown in the way that we can kind of fund and manage ourselves. We're all here because we really believe in our model, in our mission, in our products. And so, continuing on that level. But you have to think about the future and hanging it up and, what you're going to leave as a legacy. And so we always want to be strategic that's kind of true to our original goals or our growing goals and create something, that hopefully leaves a legacy for La Crosse. We've always wanted to say, you know, Pearl Street Brewery in La Crosse, Wisconsin. That makes us really proud, and we want La Crosse to be very proud of that. So our growth goal is hopefully that it's really good for our community. For the longest time, Pearl Street Brewery was the only craft brewery here. It's been wonderful to see other breweries grow up and start their businesses, and the distillery coming around. So I'd really love to see beer tourism grow here. And it's going to be a long time before we're done, so I'm very excited to see where we grow to. 20 years is a big deal. I don't think it's our ending point, so I'd like to think it's our middle or whatever we've got going on. But for me, I think that, I hope that's sort of a, you know, we get to role model for other entrepreneurs and small businesses that it's peaks and valleys. You're going to have great times and you're going to have hard times. Not everything's a banner year. And so it means a lot that we can celebrate 20 years. That's 2 decades, and that's kind of a big deal. So I'm very proud of that. And I'm looking to see what the future is going to bring.
When I first started Pearl Street Brewery, I was basically driven by the fact that I was a pretty good brewer. I had learned brewing from a few really good brewers, the award-winning brewers out west, and I felt like I knew what I was doing, and I was excited to, you know, to like give my beer to the world and throw it out there and see what people thought of it. And there was a lot of good beers, there was a lot of bad beers that I made over the years, but really that was my motivation, was to brew beer and have people like it. That was it. That was why I started the brewery. La Crosse, this is my heartfelt thank you.
Cheers to 20 years of brewing beers.